Okay, for our last video clip, we looked at character design, and I wanted to sort of further pad this out with helping you establish your character and drawing proportion, and then starting to put some expression into the character. So basically, with getting proportion in your character, they talk about head lengths. How many heads does each part of the body take? So from head to toe, they say it's about 8 head lengths long. The shoulders, the width is about 2 heads. And so this gives you a guide of, do I have 2 heads in my arm, or, is my waist 1 head in length? The arms, basically, the hands generally in most humans come down to the middle of the thigh. And these two portions, the femur is the longest bone in the body, and they sort of say it as they're equal proportions, but they're really not. The lower leg is a little bit shorter, and the feet have 1 head length long. So that's just a basic guide that you can use. Now, the next part, what I want to show you is, will this come out? Is simplifying your drawing. So when you're looking for an action pose, like running or sitting or starting to jump or stomping, use your head lengths as a guide and start thinking about how a human moves or an animal moves. But humans are probably the easiest to start off with in the beginning. When you get to animals, you've got 4 legs to deal with. So practice different action poses and just keep them really simple with simple lines. Okay, so the next stage, you might want to do this with your students, is adding some volume or 3D to your character. So I've got some characters here that I started to pad out, and trying to get the screen to move over. Okay, so you're basically going from your stickman character to adding shapes, geometric shapes, and keep thinking about those proportions. So that's supposed to be, I don't know how many, 1.5, and that's so many head lengths, and then you've got your arms. But make sure you've got where the joints move, and a lot of animators make block feet for the beginning of their character. The other thing to think about is what's called foreshortening. Now, foreshortening, for the artists out there would know what I'm talking about, that you're trying to make something sort of pop out when it's coming toward, when you're looking at something front on and it's moving. So here the head is a lot bigger than the rest of the body, and the femur of the leg is shortened. And the other thing is, always make sure, even if you don't see it, make sure you put that extra leg in there. Don't just leave it out. Okay, and so these are a lot longer than the other arm, which is in the back. Okay, so we'll move on to the next bit, where you can start adding expression to your character. And here we could start with the head. You could start putting in what you think this character kind of looks like. He might have hang on. He might have why isn't this going to let me draw? Okay, he might have hair kind of floating in the breeze. And this is when you start really using your eraser or rubber quite a bit. And if you've got a Wacom tablet, it really works a lot faster. Okay, so we might want to change our pencil size. We should be able to do that in our properties. Okay, anyway. Okay, we'll give him sort of a crew cut kind of haircut. His hair is... So you don't go into too much detail, but you want to start mapping in that expression that you might see. And he's got a little chin, and he's running away from something, obviously. Or he could be running towards something, but... Okay, and then you start taking out some of these forms of the joints because you've got the proportion right. And you could just put in hints of clothing. So he's got his shirt rolled up. Let me take some of this out. And it just helps us. We've got a framework to work with now. And how we're going to put the rest of the character in. So you could just have a simple, you could put a collar on his shirt. It's kind of crummy collar. His shirt could be blowing in the breeze. Give him a better arm. What's he doing with his hands? Making a fist. Okay, so that's a start, and if you could start practicing going from proportions to a stick figure of an action, and then to start to develop, starting with the face. I start with the face because it gives me a feel for who they are, and then we can start looking at props. For example, you could put some bees in. He's running away from scary bees. And then we'll start looking at exaggeration, and looks more like a bird. Okay, so that's probably your next task to start working on. Okay, see you at the next clip.